Hey guys, Sam here. All right, let's take a look now. What a difference a day makes. So we're back here on the TradingView entire crypto market, and we can look at this. So I've got this against Bitcoin. Since Bitcoin is weak today, well, who's benefiting from that? So I will sort this based on volume because I want to see where there's activity, and I'm going to come down my little list here. So I see the tether. I don't consider Bitcoin Cash. It's basically flat for the day. Coming down here, so who do I see but Stratis? Now this is a follow up from yesterday as we looked at this coin yesterday. Lisk and Stratis, both we looked at yesterday as potential trades for either fresh entries or contenders for new entries, or pardon me, for ads. So let's go over to Stratis and take a look at this against the dollar and against Bitcoin. So let's look at the dollar first because this is where we're getting good technical clarity. So we had drawn the box here yesterday. I think when we did the video, we were up here pushing against the pitchfork, the outside edge of the pitchfork, which was right at the 50% from the entire move down. All right, so pulling from here, we got to the 50, we hit the pitchfork. Now we come all the way back down, and let me open it up so you can see this, and we get a nice ABC. I really have to take it to the 15 for you to see that a little more clearly. Let's go to the 15. Get that lined up so we can look at it. Okay, so here's this happens when you change time frames. Okay, so here's the A wave, right? So as I often will tell you, it's tempting to always take that first dip down, but most likely, when you have this length of time into a one wave, that's just the first part of the correction. Now, if you're a day trader, taking that first pull down to the 50 of this, that's a reasonable trade. But that's not quite what I'm trying to show you guys here. It's more about getting complete subdivision here into a C wave, which comes right just perfectly into our little box that we drew. So looking for that relationship here was the negative 23 off of this. Now that was a deep, I'll use that word, deep B wave here, which challenged the one wave, didn't quite get there. But then you get this sharp reaction down to complete the correction. So that gives us more confidence in what we're seeing here as potentially, I'm going to tighten this up, as potentially a 1-2, which tells us, well, likely we've got a 3 underway. So if we look, let me go back to the hourly. Now if we look at this relative to where we've come from, you can see that we've now broken the 618. Well, I guess I have to squinch this down for you. So we've broken through the 618 of this last pull. Right? Do you see that? So likely what we have here now is we've got a good low that we can work from. We've got some sort of an impulsive 1. We get nice subdivision into a 2, right to the Vegas wave, right to the box that we drew, everything that lined up. So we've got the roadmap, sort of mapped out rather nicely. Here were all the clues that we were looking for. Can we get through the 618, 65? Here's the negative 23 from the last pull. So let me take that off. Since we can take that off. So now we look at that and we say, okay, well, if that's a third wave, where's it likely to go? So we would just take our alternate tool. We'd go from our 1 low, project from our 2 low, and we're looking for those high probability zones. So where's the most likely target for a third wave? Right here between the 618 and the 75. So we draw that little box there, put that in red as potential target to the upside. So this is what we'd like to see if this roadmap is going to continue. So the depth of the 2 gives us this height for a third. We'd look for a 4 to be maybe coming back here and then a 5 here. So if that's underway, well, if you're not in, we can't chase it here. So you're now waiting for some better subdivision here along the way. And it may be that it requires waiting for the 3 to top, and then we look for the 4, right? So that's why I will often tell you, you're never missing anything. You're just getting more clarity, more information. There will be another retracement, and there'll be another opportunity. We just have more clarity about what's underway here. So likely we're in a third there. It may be that unless we get subdivision here, because this is not likely to go straight up. It could, but not likely. It's not that far away. but we're likely, we're putting in some sort of a, that could be a shallow 2. It's not the prettiest start to this, but the height with which we've moved here, getting past the 6.5, an encouraging sign that this is some sort of impulsive structure that's underway. Not enough there to enter a fresh new long, so we'll wait and see. One to be on the radar. Now let's look at it against Bitcoin. If we go back to our list here, we can see that where'd we end up here? Stratis was, we're in the top 20-ish here. 4.5 for the day, pretty good trading volume. So let's look at it. Now, we drew this box yesterday, and we're pulling from multiple swings here. Right? I remember showing this to you guys as how well that Vegas wave had contained. So what we would ideally see is a break of the Vegas wave to the other side. So I'm pulling from 2 swings. I'm pulling from this swing here to the low. That remains to be seen here. Here's the 50 of that. Here's the 618 of that, the 76 of that. But we also looked at this. I'm on a 4-hour here. We also looked at this last swing high here to our low. We drew the box here as not necessarily a fresh entry for a short, but as a point of note to see how we react there. So we've just wicked through. So now we'd pull this up, and these really should be, I guess, in red to be consistent. So now next spot, before we can really confirm that we've got some sort of an impulse here, we've got to get a little more data. So that's a really good sign. So we'd be looking for, as I've drawn many times, some sense of, do I have a 1? We're going to challenge the 233. Can we get that kind of action followed by this kind of action? This would be our next entry here. Now we're going counter trend, but we'd be looking for what would potentially set up as the first higher low, right? We've had a continuous series of lower highs and lower lows. To break that, we're looking for that retracement to come down. If it's going to be a 2 wave, we'd be looking between the 50 and the 618. Potentially they can go deeper, but we're looking for a higher low to break this trend, and then a start of this kind of action to get this going the other direction and start a new trend and a new impulse. Too soon to call it, but that's a good sign. So this kind of move, that may be the steepest straight move that we've seen since way back here. So we sit patiently and we wait, but that's definitely one to be alarming. So I'd want to know if we break the 233, we wait for a pivot to form, and then as it comes down, I'd start alarming at the 50 to be alerted of any potential entry for a second wave. All right? Okay, I'll wrap it there.